Okay, 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 okay. She's looking good. Yeah, she's looking good. Hey, she's looking good. Hey, she's looking good. Hey, she's looking good. Hey, she's looking good. Hey. Cause the skin is extra glowy today. Let's get into it. That red light therapy is doing its job. Okay, but let's get into the video because we have a lot to cover. Okay. Welcome to the Barbie Life 2.0 podcast. I'm your host Shakira, aka Barbie 2.0, and today we will be talking about Careesha and her new episode of Careesha Please, because she spoke on Diddy after being silent for so long. And I want to get into it because she said a lot, but she also said a whole lot of nothing. But let's just get into it, okay? Now, I can't play the video because of copyright. However, I did watch the entire interview and I was pausing in between so I could write down direct quotes. So we're just going to review each question that Santana asked her and her answer, and I'm just going to share my opinion, okay? So in the beginning of the interview, Santana asked Careesha, "How are you feeling mentally?" And she said, and I quote, "1 minute I'm happy, 1 minute I'm sad, and 1 minute she feels like, fuck this shit, and then the next minute she's like, I work too hard to just stop now. And the people that I thought would be in my corner and check up on me were not there. And they use this Diddy situation as an aha moment." Okay? So, off rip, I'm like, okay, this is giving sympathy tears. I'm sorry. 2 minutes in the interview and you're already fucking crying, bitch. I mean, okay. But my thing is, I just didn't like how she was already trying to hint at JT being a fake friend. Oh, the people that I thought would check up on me were not there. Like, it was like starting a discourse for people to leave room for speculation. Like, who is she really talking about? Like, is she talking about JT? And I didn't like that already. But, you know, I can sympathize with her situation because the internet was coming at her for a long time. So it was definitely hard for her to go from being the it girl to the girl that everybody's talking shit about. So that was probably mentally challenging. So I can sympathize with that. But at the same time, it did let me give some sympathy tears in the beginning so people already feel bad for me before I start saying some fucked up shit in the rest of the interview. That's what it was giving. But anyways, let's get to the second question. So the second question Santana asked her was, when it comes to Diddy, why do you think that you're so heavily involved in everything? Why, when everything comes out about Diddy, people are always like, oh, Careesha, what do you think? What's your opinion? What's your stance on it? Like, why do you believe that people heavily involved you with Diddy? And this was Careesha's response, okay? She said, people think I was Diddy's biggest cheerleader and I made him my brand. And I feel like Diddy was on brand for me. I got with Diddy and brought him into my life. And I ain't never think that I was bigger than the City Girls. I was still working. I was still doing features, still doing City Girl shit, and heavily involved in the group. So this question right here, off rip, I already knew that Careesha was just telling on herself at this point. Okay? Because Santana asked her, why do you feel like people associate you with Diddy so much? Why do you feel like people always want to know your opinion about stuff that comes out about Diddy? He didn't ask you if you thought that you were bigger than the City Girls. But you're going on this whole rant of, oh, I never thought that I was bigger than the City Girls and I was still doing features. I was still doing City Girl shit. We didn't ask you that. But you felt the need to say that, which means you're telling on yourself. Because deep down, you know that you felt like you were bigger than the City Girls. Because let's be real, she did. Okay? When she was fucking with Diddy and she was on Careesha Please, she was the it girl. For real. A lot of people were giving her attention. And a lot of people were shitting on JT. And she did not once come to JT's defense when people were, remember when Trick Daddy was saying that nobody's checking for JT, Careesha's the it girl. You think she spoke up? No, she enjoyed it. She liked it because it made her feel like she was bigger than the city girls. And when she was messing with Diddy, same thing. It was to a point where she was posting Diddy more than she was posting the city girls. So, I don't know. To me, it was given, I'm telling on myself. And I'm like, you know, when you ask people a question and they start answering it with too much information, they're just telling on themselves at this point. So to me, it was given like, girl, you dead ass did feel like you were bigger than the city girls at the time. You did. And we all peeped it. And it's okay to admit it, but she's not going to because she knows that's going to make her look bad. So anyways, let's get into the next question. So the next question Santana asked her was, what was your experience with Diddy? Okay. And Caresha said, and I quote, I met Diddy at P's party, and I met him when the world was celebrating him. He was getting the Global Icon Award, the Lifetime Achievement Award, the Key to the City, and he had a new album coming out. So I was celebrating him with the world. And I just feel like everybody was trying to crucify me for it. When I met him, he was nice. And personally, that wasn't my experience with him. I didn't experience abuse or anything like that. Right? So, I'm not going to lie. I do understand what she was saying in this answer. Because I will admit, when she did start dating Diddy, a lot of these allegations did not come out yet. And he was being celebrated by the world. Like, he was getting a lot of awards when they got together. So I can understand what she's saying from that standpoint. But what she's not understanding as well is you were his biggest cheerleader when he was still talking about Cassie. And that right there is weird. That right there gives you were really, really, really invested in Diddy and too obsessed with him to the point where you weren't even thinking clearly because you could not even see that he was still in love with Cassie. You were at an award show with the whole poster cheering for Diddy, being his biggest cheerleader, just for him to get on the mic and thank his ex-girlfriend, who's married, by the way. So you look stupid. You looked dumb. And that's why people were crucifying you for it. And I understand the world was celebrating Diddy at the time that you met him. But people were not crucifying you because you were celebrating Diddy at the time. No, that's not it. People were crucifying you because you were celebrating Diddy when he was still talking about Cassie. And then even when the allegations came out, you were still my man with Diddy. So much to the point where you were even saying disgusting tweets to other women. Like, oh, I fuck with Diddy and he has power. And if I wanted you to eat my pussy, all Diddy got to do is say the word and tell you to eat my pussy. Like, no. So there's a lack of accountability here, Careesha. Because, yes, you met Diddy when the world was celebrating him. I can acknowledge that. But at the same time, you have to admit people were crucifying you because you stayed supporting this man even when the allegations came out. And you were making jokes and literally mocking the situation. And she's trying to act slow and delusional like, oh, I don't know why people were crucifying me for celebrating Diddy. Like, girl, no. Nobody was mad at you when, like, no. You know exactly why people were coming for you, okay? But let's get into the next question. So, the next question Santana asked her was, why didn't you say anything? When all these allegations were coming out, why did you stay silent? And she straight up said, it wasn't my experience. I can't speak on something that wasn't my experience. I did not have that experience with Diddy. So even though these allegations came out and they were horrible, I could not speak on them because that wasn't my experience. And the person speaking on it, I don't know them. So that's basically what she said. It ain't happened to me, so I'm not speaking on it. That's basically what she said. And I will admit, I can see where she's coming from if she dead ass did not have that experience with him, which I don't believe. But if she, says that she didn't have that experience with him, then I'm not going to expect her to come out and say, oh, well, Diddy's a horrible person and he abused me, blah, 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 if, you didn't have that experience. So, that's a little bit fair. I give her that. I can't expect you to speak on something that you didn't experience. You know what I mean? However, you staying silent while all of this was going on, even though you didn't experience it, the evidence that came out and the allegations and just the reputation that Diddy has in the industry, you can't tell me that you didn't know. Like, everybody in the music industry knew about Diddy before the world did, Careesha. So my thing is, you can't tell me that you didn't know, at least, that he was doing this stuff or he was a bad, like, you can't tell me you didn't know. And then again, when you made this tweet to Gina saying, if I wanted you to eat my pussy, Diddy would have you on your knees, it just leads me to believe that you're lying. Like, that the allegations are true. And maybe Diddy didn't hit you. Maybe he didn't abuse you. But you know that Diddy's character is like that because you're in the same industry as him. And everybody in the music industry knows about Diddy's parties. Like, that has been a known thing for years. The world was late to finding out about it, but the music industry already knew. So I find it hard to believe that you were heavily involved in the music industry and you had no clue at all that Diddy was a pervert or supposedly gay or abusing women. I just find that very hard to believe. I do. And at the end of the day, you were mocking Gina, saying that you would have had her on her knees if Diddy said the words. So it's giving, you knew how he was and you weren't involved, but you're not going to admit it because you know it's going to make you look bad. So this question right here, if she really didn't experience anything, okay, I can't expect you to say something, but I'm not buying it. I think that's a little bullshit. I really do. I don't believe that she did not experience anything. And even if she didn't experience anything with him, I don't believe that she just was clueless about him being a bad person. No, you're too involved in the music industry. You knew what you were getting into when you were getting involved with Diddy. You just felt like the money was more important than your morals and values. Let's be fucking for real, Careesha. Like, come on. But let's get into the next question. So the next thing that Santana asked her was, so since you've been through domestic violence before, was anything that you experienced with Diddy pertaining to domestic violence? Because I know that you were in a relationship before where you were getting hit. So I know that you don't want to do that to yourself again. So if you were already in a domestic violence relationship, why would you get involved with Diddy if he's supposedly an abusive man, according to the allegations, right? So she basically said, I was in a domestic violence relationship. I used to get hit a lot. And I vowed to myself that I would never put myself in a situation like that again. And with this answer, it was just giving, I'm trying to make people believe that Diddy never did anything to me. So I'm going to say, oh, well, I used to be in an abusive relationship and I told myself I would never do that again. So if I was in an abusive relationship in the past, why would I get with Diddy now? Why would I get with Diddy while he's being abusive to me if I already was in an abusive relationship before? I learned my lesson. So if I'm with Diddy now, then I'm just ensuring you guys that he's definitely not hitting me because I vowed to myself that I wouldn't put myself in a situation like that again. It was like she was just trying to put more proof in the fact that she was not getting abused by Diddy, And honestly, this was giving pick me because my thing is, girl, if you were in a domestic violence relationship and all these allegations came out, and on top of it, like, let's be real, you were heavily involved in the music industry. When you got with Diddy, you knew about his parties. You knew that he was abusive. Like, you knew it, okay? Everybody in the industry knew. So, you knew it, okay? Stop acting like you found out with the world. You didn't. You knew, okay? You just stayed with him because the money was longing. The money was talking, okay? The opportunities were talking, okay? And it was just giving pick me because it's like, if you were in a domestic violence relationship and all these allegations came out and you already knew how Diddy was as a person, then why would you still be with him? Why would you still want to associate yourself with this man? If he abused somebody else in a past relationship, why would you want to be with him now? But your whole thing is, oh, well, he didn't do it to me, so it's not my problem. You ever see a girl get with a guy who's a total dog? I mean, every single girlfriend that man had, he cheated on them, treated them like shit, abused them. And then the new girlfriend thinks, oh, well, he didn't do it to me, so it's not my problem. Like, this is giving Summer Walker. Like, you know when Summer Walker's dumb ass became a fourth baby mama to London on the Track? When all his past baby mamas already done told her this nigga ain't shit. But because it wasn't her experience with London on the Track, it wasn't her problem. And that's pick me energy. At the end of the day, you think that you're special because, oh, this man didn't treat me like shit, but he treated the others like shit. And that made you feel special, Careesha. It made you feel like you were the chosen one. Okay, let's be real. Okay, you're giving pick me in the situation. It looks like, okay, it looks like you were happy to get chose. You were happy to get picked by Diddy, and you felt like it was a flex that he was a shitty person to all his ex-girlfriends, but good to you. And a lot of women are like that. Okay, a lot of women will think that they're on a higher pedestal compared to other women just because they get with a shitty man who doesn't treat them as bad as they did the others. It's pick Misha energy right here. Because realistically, I've been in a domestic violence relationship as well. So if I hear that I'm dating a man who even touched his ex-girlfriend inappropriately, I'm leaving. I don't care if he never did it to me. If he did it to his ex, he'll do it to me. It just takes the certain situation for him to show his true colors. And the thing with Young Miami is like, girl, you weren't with Diddy for that long. Okay? Like, Cassie was with Diddy for years. Okay? Like 5+ years. All right? Caresha was with Diddy for like a year and a half. So one thing about abusers, they know how to put on an act for a long time so that they can get you to fall in love with them while they love bomb you. And then once they show their true colors, it's going to be hard for you to leave because you've been with them for so many years and your brain is going to be so confused because you fell in love with a certain man in the beginning and now you're seeing their true colors. And you can't even fathom that they're the same person. And it's going to be hard for you to leave in that situation. Men know how to play the game, especially Diddy. He did it with Cassie, and you were his next victim. So, okay, you didn't have that experience with Diddy. He didn't hit you. It was only a matter of time, Careesha. It was just because you didn't get to a point in the relationship with him yet for him to start showing his true colors. That's it. That's literally it. Okay? And I don't know. The minute she said that she was in an abusive relationship in the past, I was just like, this is giving pick Misha. Because if you were in an abusive relationship, that should have immediately been a turnoff for you as soon as the allegations came out. So,
and
But anyways, let's get into the next question. So the next thing that Santana asked her was, how are things with you and JT? And she straight up said, shit ain't all good, but it ain't all bad. You know, I still look at her as a sister and I still show love to her on social media, but we don't talk every day. But, you know, it's not any beef, but we're not the closest of friends. Okay? And I mean, I could have told you that. We all peeped that already, girl. So, I mean, it's a whatever. But the thing I noticed when she was answering this question, I just noticed that it was like she was trying to paint JT as the bad guy. Honestly, it felt like she was trying to paint JT as the bad guy, to be honest. Like, and every time I watch JT in interviews when she talks about City Girls, she's very respectful and mature about it. JT literally, every time people ask JT about the City Girls, she's literally like, no, we just outgrew each other, and, you know, I just wanted to do my own thing for my career, and she wanted to do her own thing. But I wish her the best, and, you know, I think that us separating was actually beneficial for the both of us. That's JT's responses when she gets asked about City Girls. But I noticed that when Santana asked Careesha about City Girls, it was like, you know, we're not really good, but like, there's no beef, but like, we're not good, but like, it was just giving like secret animosity, low key. Like, it was not giving like, I want the best for her. It was giving like, you don't really want the best for JT for real. Like, you don't. Like, shit ain't all good, but it ain't all bad. Like, girl, goodbye. And this brings me to the next question that Santana asked her. Okay. So, there was a time period where basically JT and Cardi B were going back and forth on the internet about the Super Freaky Girl remix. Okay. And Santana asked her, you know, when this whole beef was going on between JT and Cardi, you didn't defend JT. And you actually woke up the next morning and you said I was asleep. And a lot of fans felt like you were fake because you did not defend JT. And from what we understand, every time you're in some drama, JT always comes to your defense. But then when JT was in beef with Cardi, you didn't say anything. So what was that about? Okay? And Careesha said, I'm not going to lie, I really was asleep. And then when I woke up the next morning, I was looking at the tweets and I realized that they were fighting over the Super Freaky Girl remix. And bitch, I got left off of Bad and Bougie. The queen ain't called me. So I just felt like, why insert myself in drama that had nothing to do with me? Because I didn't even know about the Super Freaky Girl remix. I didn't get called for it. It was never mentioned to me. I found out that day on Twitter. So I wasn't about to involve myself in a situation that didn't pertain to me. And this right here confirmed everything that I have been saying about Careesha from the jump. Because let me tell you something. If y'all have been watching my podcast for a while, I have been talking about the City Girls for a while. And I have been saying that Careesha has secret animosity towards JT and she's jealous of JT. Because when JT finally started to realize her worth and realize that she could be better off solo, it made Careesha feel some type of way. Because Careesha realized that she has no talent and she has no foundation outside of City Girls or being attached to Diddy. And this right here proved that for me. Because what does you being left off a remix have to do with you defending your friend? That doesn't make any sense. So what if you weren't a part of the remix? Like Young Miami, you were on a couple songs by yourself without JT. So why is it a problem when JT is on a song with Nicki Minaj? But that was the issue because it was the queen. You didn't like that the queen called JT. You didn't even think that the queen would consider the City Girls. And you didn't like that you were left out of that. So because you felt some secret animosity and hate towards JT, you wanted to let her go down on her own. You wanted to let her sink without defending her or trying to help her. Because you saw the potential in her when she got on that Super Freaky Girl remix. And you saw the love that she was getting from being a really good rapper. And you wanted to see her sink because you were starting to see her light come to fruition. You were starting to see her talent actually get recognized, and you were starting to see her get praised. And that right there made you feel some type of way, to the point where you didn't want to see your friend win anymore. So when she was in that fight with Cardi, you felt like, I'm not going to defend her because people are praising JT right now for being a good rapper, and they're praising her for the Super Freaky Girl remix. And I was left out of the remix, so I kind of low-key want to see her in some drama. That's what it was giving. You know, because at the end of the day, you being left off the remix has nothing to do with you defending your friend, especially when JT has always come to your defense. And you guys have done solo features while being in the group together, and it was never a problem. And this even brings me to the next question, because he even asked her, you know, when did you start seeing things get rocky between you and JT? And she said, you know, it started getting rocky when JT was working on her solo project. Why would it get rocky when JT is focusing on her solo project? When you were working on Careesha Please and the world was praising you for that, and Trick Daddy was saying nobody was checking for JT and Careesha was the it girl, there wasn't no issues there. You didn't have no problems. Nothing was rocky. But then when JT started working on her solo album, and then on top of it, she got the cosign from the Queen, now things are getting rocky. And this brings me to what I've been saying about Careesha. Careesha is one of those friends that want to be around you when they feel like they're doing better than you in life. But the minute you start to surpass them, that's when they get uncomfortable and they start doing some fake ass shit. Because they only had you in their life to boost their ego because they felt like they were doing better than you. And once you start to grow and once you start to become a better individual and you start to get more accolades and accomplishments, they feel jealous and they feel some type of way because now you're growing outside of that little box that they put you in. And that's exactly what happened with the City Girls. Careesha did not like the fact that JT was finally going solo and getting praise for her music. She did not like it. And Careesha thought that she was bigger than the City Girls when she was fucking around with Diddy. And she didn't realize that her attaching herself to Diddy so hard was going to be the end of her brand and the end of her career because of all of these allegations. And now JT separated herself from all of that, went solo, and is doing very well. And you are still struggling to keep your brand intact because people still associate you with Diddy regardless of what you say. And now you feel some type of way because that friend that you were doing better than is now doing better than you. So now you have hate and secret animosity. And I've had a lot of friends like this. And I don't mean to bring colorism into it, but I have been saying this for the longest. Careesha benefited from colorism in the City Girls. Okay? She may not be light skinned, but she is lighter than JT. And the way colorism works, somebody who is lighter than you will have more benefits due to colorism compared to somebody who is darker. Somebody who is brown skin is going to get more opportunities than somebody who is dark skin. And Careesha being untalented in everything she does, because I don't even think she's a good podcaster. Okay? I think she sucks. The girl literally sounds like there's a frog in her throat and she talks like, I'm sorry, her ghetto accent is so bad you cannot understand her. I think that she's a horrible podcaster. Like, horrible. I think people gas her up way too much. And I think that Careesha being untalented as a podcaster and as an artist, and she was still able to build a platform and still able to create a career for herself off of having no talent, shows that she really did benefit from colorism in the City Girls, because she was able to ride off of JT's talent and use JT's talent to build a platform for herself where people can just literally like her for her personality. And that would not happen for a dark-skinned girl. And a lot of the time when you're around lighter people or light-skinned people who benefit from colorism, when their darker friend starts to get more praise than them, they feel some type of way. And JT was getting praise for her talent, and Caresha had to look deep within and realize that she had no talent. And the only reason she was really famous was because she benefited from colorism in the City Girls, because she was lighter than JT. So she could ride off of JT's talent and get people to fall in love with her personality and her lifestyle and create a career off of it. But deep down, she knows that she's not talented. And without JT, she would be nothing. And without Diddy, she would be nothing. And she knows that. And when you finally, when a colorist person, for example, when somebody has to finally realize that colorism was helping them in their career and they don't have no talent, they lose their shit. They lose their shit. You ever see a light-skinned girl or a lighter friend feel some type of way because her darker friend is getting more attention than her? Because the lighter friend automatically assumes that she's supposed to get the most attention because she's lighter. That's what happened with JT and Caresha. Literally. Caresha felt like because she was lighter than JT and because she was fucking with Diddy, and she was automatically prone to get more attention and automatically prone to getting more love than JT. And the minute JT started getting more love than her, she started feeling some type of way. Because now she realized that colorism can only go so far. It can only get you so far. And that is true. Because even though you benefit from colorism, your talent has to keep you there. Okay? It does. For example, people like Beyonce, she benefits from colorism, but her talent keeps her in the conversation. Okay? The light skin can only get you so far. I'm just saying. So, then her last question was basically, are you still dating P. Diddy? And she said she's not dating Diddy anymore, but she wants the world to know that Diddy was very good to her. He was a very good person to her. And all these allegations that came out about him, she didn't have that experience. But after the world was coming for her and all this stuff came out, she had to protect her brand. And she had to just leave him hanging. And this was just giving fake as shit. Girl, you didn't even want to drop Diddy. And I'm going to be real. She's just trying to clear her name because she couldn't continue Careesha Please without addressing this. Like, nobody was going to let her do interviews without her addressing the Diddy situation. So that's why she felt the need to come out and say all this stuff. But realistically, it's all an act. It's all an act. People have been talking. And people have even been saying that she was posted up with Diddy on her close friends a few days ago. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was true. So this whole interview was just giving sympathy and payola. It was giving, I'm just trying to get the people on my side and address the issue so I can continue Careesha Please. Like, in my opinion, she took no accountability. She didn't even address half the tweets that she made pertaining to Diddy and the allegations. She just hopped over any form of accountability, and it just felt like she was trashing JT in the interview more than she was trashing Diddy. And it's like, girl, I didn't like this interview at all. It was given scripted. The fact that she was interviewed by her best friend, all of it was just, I wasn't fucking with it at all. So, I can't tell you whether to support Careesha or not. You do as you please. But personally, I have left that train years ago. and I am not hopping back on it. JT coming, JT coming, JT coming, JT coming, JT coming, JT. I mean, I'm serious, cause that's the train I'm riding. I've been fucking with JT and her new music. I've always liked JT. Even in the City Girls, when people were trashing her, I always felt like JT was that girl. I always saw myself in JT. So, unfortunately, Careesha, I know you put out this episode hoping that you could continue your career after addressing this issue, but I don't think people are still going to be fucking with this girl. I'm not fucking with her still. Like, I just think that she's just playing in our faces, and she was just looking for sympathy so she could continue her show. So, but that's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Shakira, aka Barbie 2.0. And I do talk about colorism, texturism, and featureism and any issues in the Black community. So if you're new here, just like, comment, and subscribe. But I will see you guys very soon. And I love you guys so much. Besos.